This is the Battle of Richmond on Legendary difficulty. This is day 1. So, yeah, you might notice I have a TS on that unit. That's a train station. So the enemy, those are units that were with me from the train station. So the enemy has a army size of 43 to 48. Of course, that's not going to, happen. One of the perks I have is that the enemy um, will have 15% degradation in weapons. Well, that doesn't really happen either. He has Fayetteville's and CS Richmond's. So I have 121,000 men, 588 guns. He has 88,000 men, 275 guns. Um, yeah, I forget how many he actually brings to this battle. I think it's more than that. I think you can generally count on him having around 100,000 men in this battle, I think. And I think he has more guns than that, too. But the big thing is he doesn't get to concentrate his army at any time. So you outnumber him about 10 to 1 at any moment on the battlefield, which makes this pretty academic. Just don't throw your army away on fortifications. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, and with the artillery power that I have, I can bring an enormous amount of firepower on any location. This battle on Legendary was actually easier than um, Richmond on Major General because I just have such a powerful army at this point. So I detach skirmishers so I don't walk into his snipers, which I know are going to be out here. And I always play this way. I never want to attack across that open field to the north. I always want to approach his fortifications from the cover of the woods, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to secure the wooded area, which will give us good cover right up to the trench line, and then get a break in his trench line right here. So this is a very, very easy way to pop through his defenses, and then you get another corps comes in reserve, and first corps and whatever corps that is can easily pop through. And then you just drive north, basically, and he can't resist. As long as you keep the artillery close, he can't resist. So the artillery is having trouble keeping up, but this is mostly a skirmisher battle between several of my skirmisher units and his sniper unit. Yeah, with detached skirmishers, my infantry appears to be 1760, so that's going to work out. 1650 is the max efficient size. And because this is on Legendary, this is going to be bloody. So all these units are going to be down to around 1650 pretty quickly, probably. And then, he gets a bunch of reinforcements to the south. And, yeah, I forgot there was a cav unit. But yeah, some snipers and a cav unit come in, and that's fine. We'll beat up on those guys. We're in very good position. The artillery is about to get into place. One of the things that I've noticed is when I watch other people play is usually, and I'm looking at my play right now, it's real important to hit pause and pay attention to where the commander is. And so I'm looking at the video. My commander's with the infantry, which is good, but he should really be further south, giving protection to these dismounted, detached skirmishers. He has not just good a plus 10 cover bonus, but he also gives a buff to morale recovery. So, yeah, I finally get the commander where he needs to be. So I can now see one of his artillery, and as soon as I see his artillery, I get the 20-pound parrots firing. And one of his units, I was very happy to see him retreat to the left because 2 detached skirmishers can make short work of that guy. He's dead. That's an easy kill. So yeah, the detached skirmishers are doing a very good job, and the 24-pound howitzers are going to come up and make this guy rout. And the 20-pound parrots just do a great job of taking out the enemy artillery at range. Yeah, there we go. Even in the woods, the 24-pound howitzer just makes everybody want to run away. So yeah, I'm just patiently getting everyone in position, and I intend to pop through this trench line before my reinforcements come in. I'm going to go ahead and pop this line. There's not much here. Yeah, very happy to see that guy die in the corner. I want to get detached skirmishers in front of my infantry. I want him to target my detached skirmishers, not my infantry. This battle is going to be bloody enough. Yeah, it is a bit of an ongoing game to make sure that the 20-pound parrots are targeting the unit you want to target. But look at that, his artillery unit's already down to about 170. So yeah, we're just tearing this guy up. 24-pound howitzers are in place. So yeah, a big part of good gameplay is move the infantry up and then wait for the support weapons, the smooth bores, and then get the smooth bores up online and fire. And, you know, I keep saying this in videos, but don't be afraid for the 24-pound howitzers to take losses. They're supposed to get kills. And in the process of that, they're going to take losses. And these 24-pound howitzers just do a great job. But they only do a great job if they're in the right place. So yeah, the guy in the corner, the sniper in the corner is dead. So I can, and I'll do this a lot, I'll reattach and then detach more detached skirmishers. And also, by the way, this happens a lot, where I walk up to a trench line and I think I'm going to charge into melee and the enemy just routs. And it seemed like I had to melee my way through every position on Major General. But on Legendary, I think it is because of this OP artillery army that I've built. He doesn't stand and fight. I have to get into melee very few times, even with his fortified positions. He just routs. And yeah, I walk up, hit him with several volleys, a 24-pound howitzer, and he just collapses. Well, the other thing is, I think just about every position that I approach, I soften him up with artillery and detached skirmishers. And I think that, you know, those two things are both part of it. So I want to keep my infantry in the wood line. The detached skirmishers can go out and look for something to fight, but I don't want my infantry to go out past this wood line until I get some artillery up a little closer. I want my 20-pound parrots in exploding shell range, because he should really attack like crazy at some point, and I want him to walk into 20-pound parrot exploding shell range and 24-pound howitzer canister. So I don't want to go out and give him an easy target, let him attack my infantry without artillery support. So basically, when I attack, I want him to have no artillery support because I've already killed it. And when he attacks, I want to have all the artillery support in the world. And what makes the difference between 2 to 1 and 10 to 1 in a battle is artillery. It's that simple. Good use of artillery just drives up the kill ratio. Okay, so I'm taking a look at the map. Again, I don't want to attack in the north across open ground. I want to attack here. This is the place where I'm attacking. I want the troops coming in from the north to cover my right flank, and the troops coming in to the south covering my left flank. Now, there's actually, in this part of the battle, this is the north part of the battlefield, an entire corps comes in toward the end of the battle that I don't even move, because by that time the entire battle over here is over. So yeah, by having 5 corps completely filled out, you just bring in an enormous number of troops. I guess the thought was that you would walk up and fight these guys in the south and not be able to defeat them, and then an entire corps would come in toward the end of the battle and help you win in the south. But this fighting is over in the south. One of the things I wanted to mention is, if you want to have success in the Battle of Richmond, there are all kinds of locations where the enemy, the rebel forces get reinforcements to your rear and flank. But if you are covering, if you're practicing good security and you have your flank covered at all times, it's not a problem. But if you don't have your flanks covered in Richmond, you're going to be very, very frustrated. It's going to be a really tough, frustrating battle, because he's going to keep showing up with guys on your flank. Almost every road has a resupply, reinforcement route for the enemy, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's Richmond. So, but yeah, as long as you keep your flanks covered, though, when he attacks, when he gets reinforcements, they're just going to fall on places where you already have your units placed. So one of the things you're going to see me do is, and I do this every battle in every campaign, and and this is how I fought Richmond the very first time I fought it. Had plenty of units on my left and right flank, just covering it, and that turns out to be really, really a good idea. So yeah, this is my left flank, and I'm going to put a couple of units down in that south woods just to cover the flank, and I'm going to have a couple of units in the north covering my flank. And initially, I'm going to stay south of the road where you can see, all the units there. There's no reason to go north of that just yet until I get more units in position, and I'll cross the road and go north when it's appropriate. So, but for right now, I just want to cover my flank. So my detached skirmishers have spotted some artillery. Oh yeah, I targeted, I told my detached skirmishers to fight somebody, and they chased after him. So yeah, one of my detached skirmishers took some hits. I'll fold him back into his parent unit and detach him again. So yeah, looking forward to playing Panda Kraut's mod that fixes that. Yeah, I have General McClellan is in exactly the right position to give cover and support to these guys as they approach the trench line. Yeah, I had a J.F. Brown come in with the troops that came in to the north, and I decided I want to put him in the center. And yeah, those guys killed somebody who just tried to occupy that fortified position. So that's good. Yeah, my artillery's already chopping up his artillery that's at the victory location. My other 20-pound Parrots pretty much destroyed that artillery unit that was in the open. Yeah, anytime you see the enemy in the open, one of his artillery batteries, you want to hit him with everything you can, because he doesn't have any cover. He's going to die fast. So we'll go ahead and get started on killing that artillery unit. Every time we see an artillery unit, we want to kill it. The numbers look about even right now on the battlefield, which means pretty easy victory. Yeah, that's what I like about this position. I have 3 or 4 infantry in cover just firing into one of his units, and even though he's in a fortified position, he can't take that. Not to mention the artillery support that was firing at that guy. So, yeah, no melee attack needed. So I want to attack this artillery unit with detached skirmishers, and he's dead. So one of the things I've found about my cav units is they do a really good job of not, when they don't face the enemy face to face. So they do a really good job in the flank and rear. They tend to die if the enemy is facing them. So what I'm doing is I'm patiently waiting with my cav for an opportunity for them to get behind enemy lines. Yeah, that's great. The enemy's going to charge right into the water, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of units hit him. Yeah, that's a good way to throw your cav away. So one of the things I thought about was, I come in here with most of my divisions are 3 infantry and 3 artillery. So is that enough infantry to, get coverage of the battlefield? And it turns out it's more than enough. I try to avoid infantry clumping up like they're clumping up right now in the south, but there are so many infantry units on the battlefield that it's very difficult not to have them overstacked. And there's no point in having like 2 solid lines of infantry or infantry that's overlapping. And fairly quickly, I guess, there are just so many infantry units on this battlefield that everybody doesn't get a chance to be effective. And I guess, having some units in reserve is a good idea, but just having the battlefield stacked with infantry is not a good idea. It's just a waste. So all of my artillery can fire pretty much the whole time. All of my infantry, I want them firing and actively engaged in battle. But yeah, when you have infantry stacked up, then yeah, you have infantry in reserve that's fresh, so you can swap out tired units. But this is just, I'm looking at the south, and even when this was happening, I was thinking, this is just mismanaged. Those guys need to spread out to become really effective. Now I have, in the north, I have 4 units that are basically just waiting, covering my flank. I have an infantry kind of to the rear and a detached skirmisher to the far flank, just giving me visibility if anything approaches my flank. And yeah, I have a detached skirmisher in the woods to the far south, but I don't think anything comes in from the south, so I eventually start moving him forward. McClellan was a little far back, so that was a mistake. McClellan needed to be right up on Commander has to be right up on the front line. That's giving units every possible buff and protection possible. Yeah, you'll notice that I click on the detached skirmishers quite a bit. Uh, a lot of times I'm telling them just to remerge back into the parent unit, and then I want to redetach skirmishers. So here's a guy who charges, and I go ahead and let him get into combat because he's, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of infantry support. And then the unit that was in melee, I have him fall back, and another unit, yeah, I have to make sure you're targeting the right infantry unit. I think those guys were going to try to charge forward to fire on the unit that they were targeting, which was the wrong one. Anyway, I have the guy who's in melee fall back to recover, and a guy swap out who's fresh and fire volleys into the enemy. So I'm getting ready to push forward, so I'm going to move units into the woods to the north and cover my flank there. Yeah, there's another example of a detached skirmisher targeting someone and then running ahead. With so many detached skirmishers on the field, it's very difficult for that not to happen. So your options are don't target people with your detached skirmishers so they don't charge forward, or alternatively, actually, well, install Pandakraut's mod, I guess. So it looks like he's moving north to reinforce his army. His units are down to 600 to 800 in size, and a bunch of his artillery has been destroyed. I keep thinking that I'm going to attack this group in the south. I mean, I've taken the victory location, but that I've taken the folks in the south. I'm going to take them out, and it's going to be a fight. But in this case, it's not going to be much of a fight. His units are already chopped up. That guy in the river is only 500, 400, yeah. All of his units are looking a little weak, so I'm going to go ahead and push forward. So the strategy is exactly what I did in my other two campaigns. I'm going to destroy everybody in the south, and then everybody's going to move north. Okay, what happens here is the map opens up for this southern battle. You have to take this flag by a certain time, or you lose the Battle of Richmond. You lose the battle. It's really weird. I mean, everything can go swimmingly everywhere. You don't take that fort, you lose the battle. I think it's the end of the day. Maybe you get a phase the next day. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is this fortified ring, this ring of forts, this trench line is pretty easy to break. And if you break it in this first phase, I think this battle's easy. And it's not that hard to do. So this is one time where Second Corps, maybe next time I do this, I don't have quite this configuration. Maybe I come in with 3 infantry and 3 artillery, but it's we're going to pop. All we need is just a break anywhere in his position. This works. This all you have to do is get a breakthrough and hold it, and this works. And then we get reinforcements, I think next phase. And once the reinforcements come in, you just advance, and he can't stop you. So Whitworths are really the perfect choice here. Last on Major General, I had them to the north. They were very useful because of their great range. They're very useful here too because of their range. And yeah, 24-pound howitzers are going to move forward and help me break his line. The Sharps carbine cav unit, 2-star, is good. He's not going to be great in the first phase, but these guys are really good in open ground and when they can get on the flank and rear of enemy units. So yeah, this is going to work out. And it really doesn't matter if you take some extra losses here. The important thing is get the breakthrough so that in the next phase, everybody just goes through this fortification. What you don't want is the enemy to reinforce this location and stack this up with a whole bunch of 3-star infantry. That makes it, well, it takes time. And again, the whole thing with this battle is if you don't take the victory location, you lose the Battle of Richmond. So I would say the only thing important here is don't lose the Battle of Richmond. That's the only thing I'm really worried about. I can replace all my losses. I have plenty of CS Richmonds in inventory. Plenty of cash. All these guys need to do is drive these skirmishers out. That's a little tougher on Legendary because these guys on Legendary at 100 efficiency are just really tough. A lot tougher than they are on any other level of difficulty. So I would say on Major General and certainly Brigadier General, this you just walk up and pop a hole, just pop this guy and he collapses. Not so here. I have to really think about what I'm doing. And I do have this melee cav. They have 61s. Infantry and support, but one of my infantry units is already breaking. That's not good. That's an unpleasant surprise. I only have 3 infantry, and one of them is morale shocked. So yeah, no, he's not breaking. And because I don't have a commander here, those units didn't want to charge, so what I do is I tell them to run to a point on the other side. You have to get 2 units into melee on top of one of his. And so my morale cav is routing, but he did the job. He got the job done. And even though one of my infantry units is running apparently to Washington, he got the job done too. So the big thing is we have a breakthrough. Now all we have to do is hold it. And that's, yeah. The infantry recovers, and the cav recovers, and now all we have to do is just sit here and hold this. So as usual, I push the 24-pound howitzers up. Have the melee cav here, just, if they're needed. Really don't want the Spencer carbines taking hits. So a second infantry unit breaks. That's not good. But if I can get the second unit, the unit that routed earlier to recover, that will be fine. Yeah, we're down to 8 minutes, and yeah, these guys held. So 3 minutes to go. And yeah, they took some losses, but that is one great big hole in his fortified position, and now his infantry is not going to be able to get up into those positions. And yeah, the phase is over. So next phase we will get reinforcements, and it'll be great. So north flank completely covered. I advanced into the woods. Last time his units are about 1,100. There's a unit, I think he's going to try to get into the fort. He's about 900. But units of 1,000, 1,100, that guy's 600. I saw a unit of 300. His units in the south, there's a 300, 500, 600, 700. And I have, and this is just the huge advantage I have. Not just more infantry, but also just OP as can be artillery. That's just going to pound this guy to death. So looking at the video, McClellan's in the wrong place. He needs to, I'm playing like an amateur right now. McClellan needs to be up. Yeah, Grant's in the right place, giving support. Yeah, and those captured supply points have a lot of ammo. So all that artillery is getting completely refilled. So yeah, I'm actually sending my supply wagon away. There's no reason for my supply wagon to do anything around that supply point. Yeah, at the start of every phase, you have to reissue orders to every one of your units, especially your artillery, because the game will not remember the orders that you, not necessarily. There's a very good chance the game will forget what you, or erase your previous orders. Oh man, that little unit of 600 is just getting pounded in the north. Yeah, he's toast. So, yeah, that little unit of 460 is going to charge into the water. So now is a good opportunity for me to do something clever with my cav. I would like to capture supply wagons and just fill up my artillery with ammo for the next phase. Oh man, I cannot believe where McClellan is. That is just terrible battlefield management. McClellan is so far behind the infantry. That's embarrassing. That's just completely a new player mistake. So, okay, I don't see any artillery, any enemy artillery in the north. Must have probably killed it. Got a heads up, supply surrendered, hit pause, get that supply wagon moving to resupply the artillery. So I'm checking my supply of all of the artillery units near the resupply point, and yep, I think they're all full. So I'm going to take one infantry unit and one artillery unit, and this is just a good thing for every battle. Not just every battle, but especially for Richmond. Put an infantry unit, and I'm also going to put an artillery unit, which is more than I normally do, on the victory location itself. That way the enemy can't sneak around and take the victory location away. that's something the enemy will always do. And it's a good idea to always not let him do that. So, yeah, I think what I've noticed is if you have an infantry unit on the victory location, the enemy is less likely to even try, even though he's supposed to have visibility of the battlefield and make decisions based on what he can see. He seems to know, I don't know, the cheating AI is a cheating AI. Another infantry unit dead. And yeah, so he does not seem to want to attack your flag and try to take it if you have an infantry unit on top of the victory location. He's less likely to even try. Even though there's no way he should be able to see that, apparently he can. So that melee cav unit has Lamottes, and we might as well pop this guy who's in the water. There's no reason not to. Yeah, that's a really good cav weapon. Even though he's a 1-star unit, he gets a whole bunch of kills. Yeah, I'm trying to get one of my detached skirmishers to charge so I can get a 2-on-1 bonus. Because the detached skirmishers do count. So he's decided to attack my position in the woods. That's fine. I'm happy just to stand there and exchange shots with him. He's basically abandoning, for some reason, this victory location. So, okay. We're going to wipe him out in the south, and then all these guys are going to move north. Even though there's still fighting going on, yeah. So, the Lamottes did a good job. Now he's going to go over and snag that supply wagon. Yep, there's another supply wagon. Should be able to top off all of my units with supply. And as long as I have plenty of ammo in the artillery, this is just going to be a slaughter. So he has a Cav division that comes into the north. And my units are all in good cover. And yeah, he's going to bounce right into a solid wall of infantry. So I thought these guys who just came in had already come into the battlefield. I knew that, you know, played this a few times. I knew these guys came in. But they come in now. So, okay. We're going to have something to kill instead of just marching north. Yeah, I would like to cut these guys off at the river. He has to cross the river to make it north. I don't want him to take these 3 units of 1300 and join the rest of his army. I want to kill them before they can resupply or reinforce the north. I want to cut them off and kill them, and then this entire force in the south will just start moving north. And so I'm moving some 24-pound howitzers across the river to set up kind of a blocking force of infantry and 24-pound howitzers. Going to leave this infantry unit in the rear and get everybody else moving to, first of all, kill this little pocket of troops and detach skirmishers on the left side of the water. He's making a crossing right there. I don't see him at first. He's in the water, and I don't see him. He just killed something. Somebody just got wiped out. J.F. Brown's 24-pound howitzers. get all my artillery focused on his artillery. So yeah, make sure everybody keeps moving. It was nice of him to cross the water there. So that guy's pretty much beaten up. Yeah, he's not going to do well there. Yep, first guy crosses the water, downhill, getting shot. JF Brown's giving flanking fire. Don't particularly want to get into melee, but yep, and he takes a couple shots and he's done. Then he charges with the cav. Now that's actually a pretty good move. He should have attacked with all of his cav and some infantry. That was an opportunity, but the AI didn't pull that off. Yeah, attacking my units in the woods in the north is a waste of... Yeah, that's not going to go anywhere. So now I just need to get everybody up. And he's very weak and vulnerable. I just need everybody to move a little faster. And I didn't hit record, but basically everybody moved up. So you didn't really miss much. Everybody moved up. We took another victory location. There was nothing there, pretty much. And yeah, it was pretty straightforward. So, okay, we have this breakthrough. His cav keeps running up and taking shots, which is just going to get him killed. Which it does, just get him killed. So I'm moving the 24-pound howitzers up in support, which is exactly where they should be, firing canister. The James is, I think, at the right range. Want my melee cav to attack his snipers every chance they get. My snipers to shoot at his snipers. And here come the reinforcements. Here comes the general. Desperately need that morale buff. My units have been pretty battered, so we need him to give all the support he can, so get him up on the front line. A lot of reinforcements coming in, so that should be 3rd Corps. And so that should be 6 infantry and 6 artillery. And that's more than adequate for what we have ahead of us. And then we're actually going to get more reinforcements a little bit later on, but this is more than adequate. These 24-pound howitzers just keep dealing out the pain. Okay, his sniper's coming in, charging in. Good for him. And we thump him pretty good, so... So we have 3 Whitworths in this force, and they just keep targeting his artillery and just keep blasting away at range. Works incredibly well. The James, yeah, his artillery's within exploding shell range of the James. In the camp phase, I talked about long range, short range, and mid range. The mid range guns are all-purpose guns, and the James is the high-end version of that. The 10-pound Ord is the mid-range version of that, and the 6 rifle is the low range. The 6 rifle is a very good rifle, but by this point in the campaign, I have so many good weapons, I only have 1 unit of 6-pound rifle. Although it's very, very good, the James is better. So, yeah, I have... And the 10 Ord is better. So, for the mid-range guns, you can place them... You want to get exploding shell, but they do everything well. They're not as good as the 20-pound Parrot at, say, long range. They're not as good as the 24 howitzer at short range, but they're good at all ranges. 24-pound howitzer is great at short range, but is terrible. I mean, you would never want to shoot it at long range. It's just a waste of ammo. So, yeah, each division has short, mid, and long range, a short, mid, and long range weapon, and then the trick in the battle is to make sure that each weapon is doing what it's supposed to do. 24-pound howitzers need to be right on the tail end of the infantry. The mid-range weapons need to be firing exploding shell or canister, preferably, but they can target artillery if you see artillery. And then long-range guns like these Whitworths, you know, they're parked where they are so they could get firing as quickly as possible, and the enemy artillery is dead. So I really should move those guys right now because they don't have anything to shoot at. My thought is just shoot at anything, I don't care. But really, we're going to see some more of his artillery very soon, and there is no reason why my Whitworth shouldn't be a little closer to the supply wagon. It's not that they can't hit the enemy, it's that now it's inconvenient how far away they are from the supply wagon. Yep, his cav is dead. That's good. So I need to annihilate these guys in the north. And then we have this long maneuver we have to do to get to the rear of the fort. And it takes a while. So yeah, that needs to happen, and it needs to happen on schedule. Because if we don't take the fort, I think by the next phase, not really sure, but I know that if you don't take the fort, you lose the battle. Because I have tested that out on Major General. And yeah, if you just sit quietly and let the timer run out, it's a defeat. So not only is the Battle of Richmond over, the war is lost. So everything comes down to taking that victory location right there. Yeah, I'm happy to see in the video that I keep the commander moving forward. So I thought I told that very tiny detached skirmisher, it's like 87 guys, to reattach to the parent unit. I bet what happened was the new phase kicked in and all the orders were wiped out. That's probably what happened. So yeah, my Whitworths look at that range. Look at that awesome range. They're just blasting away at his artillery from halfway across the map. Love those Whitworths. They don't do a lot of damage, but they're consistent. And what I'm thinking is I really need his artillery to be dead when I approach this fort for melee. I don't want to take a whole bunch of canister to the face as I begin this charge. Okay, that's a big sniper unit he has there. That's going to be a pain in the neck. So yeah, we're beginning the flanking maneuver around the enemy flank. He has 2 units to the north across the river. I can't really afford to keep a whole bunch of infantry over there because we're going to have to attack this fort, and it's going to take some numbers to. This is a good fort. It's going to be a little easier if we come in from behind, but it's still going to be tough. This is always a tough location to take. Yeah, and for attacking a position like this, I definitely want my commander to be with the attack. So it's my units have to get in position, then they have to get rested. They can't go charging into melee tired. I have the Whitworths up. Start. I think we killed the. He had 2 artillery units. We killed one of them. Now we'll start working on the 2nd artillery unit. And I want to hit them with artillery from one side. Oh no, he has a. He's down to 160 with that guy. So I have my cav in place. I have my infantry in place. Um, yeah, we're in pretty good shape, I think. We are in very good shape now. We have more reinforcements coming in on the Union right. That's a very nice counterattack he's launching right there. And that unit just got hammered. Yeah, he's in the wood line. My guys are in the open, so I probably want to attack with detached skirmishers, not with infantry. Make sure my artillery gets up. 24-pound howitzers were right on the tail end of the infantry, but my infantry has advanced. So now I need to get the 24-pound howitzers up and the 20-pound parrots. And I'm looking at, where is Grant? Grant is so far behind the line. That is terrible. Grant needs to be... I wonder when I realize how screwed up that is. Yep, there. Okay, got Grant moving. Yeah, it's important to hit pause and get the commander and the supply wagons moving. It's like crucial to good gameplay. Yeah, I think about swapping Grant and McClellan out because actually most of First Corps is over on the left, but they're both just good corps commanders. It doesn't matter. They're both maxed out 3-star. So yeah, I was moving the 20-pound parrots up, but I just saw another enemy artillery unit, so we'll just fire from here. It's more important right now to kill his artillery than it is to get up and put fire on his infantry. Pretty much it's always more important to kill his artillery with long-range guns than anything else. So okay, this guy's going to charge. So yeah, I think that unit has a TS. That means he was with me at the train station. So that unit has been with me since the train station. Yeah, some of these units are getting a little tired, I noticed. I noticed that during gameplay, too. So some of these units are going to have to be given a break. Once we get into the woods, some of these units are going to have to stop attacking. Like there's a guy flashing exhausted, and I remember I saw that as I was playing. That one 800-man unit is stopping my whole army, so I'm going to send a melee cav in to pop him. Because I just need him to... I need him to collapse. Yep, and the melee cav does its job. Get him out of there. That's the... He has Lamottes, and... yeah, I think he gets almost 1,000 kills in this battle. So, yeah, with him broken, I can get up behind the trench line. And I don't think there's very much between here and the north edge of the woods. So my goal is, of course, to push him out of the woods and then set up a position where I'm in the woods and he is in the open then. And he'll pretty much stand there in the open. But it is a long walk through those woods, and it's exhausting for my infantry and my artillery. But it's a whole lot less expensive than charging across the open ground to the northeast. So this has the advantage of keeping my losses down, which it does. But it does tire out my army. And the other thing is the reinforcements that came in on the right, they're moving into the north in the open, but I want to lure the enemy out. It's not my intention to attack those trench lines, it is my intention that detached skirmishers will pull some number of units forward into the open where my artillery will blast it. So yeah. Because I don't see any artillery to shoot at, good opportunity to get these long-range guns moving forward. Yeah, Grant finally gets into a place where he can provide support. That's good. Yeah, I want to get these captured supply wagons up too. Okay, so I issue a bunch of orders. My guys advance. Yeah, now the army's really tired. So they're going to need a break. We have 2 hours yet to fight, so I don't have to be in a hurry. Can let some of my tired units... Yeah, he has a unit of 300 charging in. That should kill him. It does. So one of the things we have to do is we have to... Anytime we see enemy artillery, we have to target it, but one of the bad things is it goes out of sight. And then it'll flash back into sight, and then it'll go out of sight. It's very annoying. So my Spencer carbines, I wanted them to go up and do a little recon for me, but he saw that unit and charged it with his cav, and yeah, that did not go well. So now I see his artillery again, so I have to retarget all my 20-pound parrots. One of the things that Sid Meier's Gettysburg had was you could tell your long-range guns to only fire at artillery, and they just wouldn't fire at anything else. Or maybe it was that they would, they would select artillery first and shift to artillery if any artillery became visible. Be nice if there was a command like that. Tell your 24-pound howitzers only fire at close range units, and tell your 20-pound parrots to only fire at long range artillery. But that's not possible. So he's getting torn up in the middle. Yeah, I really want to get visibility on his artillery. There it is. Finally got visibility on his artillery. Okay, at that moment, this battle is pretty much over. We have an hour and 29 minutes. The victory location is going to fall, but all my long-range guns are going to be able to pick his artillery apart. This is a done deal. So I'm going to have them kill one at a time. The only thing I'm not liking is my 24-pound howitzers are just a little bit too far away. So yeah, it's all blue bar at this point. There's very little red bar left, and it doesn't matter if we kill them all, but I would like to kill this artillery. But yeah, we have pretty much overwhelming numbers. Yeah, here come, this is is it an entire corps? At least a couple, I think 3 divisions. And yeah, I'd like for them to be right here, part of this attack, but this is going to be over, so I don't even bother moving them. This is going to be over way before these guys could ever get here. So I still have plenty of infantry that's well rested, because did give them a chance to rest. Yeah, he has 2 infantry and an artillery there, and I just have just an amazingly overwhelming force. Um, yeah, I just stopped advancing with the infantry. They're in range. Some of my units are exhausted. They need to fall back. But the 24-pound howitzers are up, and yeah, I had to move some of the 20-pound parrots forward because they were just a little bit out of range for his artillery that's in the far north. So this is the last victory location is going to fall in 14 minutes. And that's going to be fine. There's going to be very little get out of here. Yeah, he has 1 artillery unit that's down to 130. That guy's going to die very quickly. I need visibility on the far north. Looks like I'm losing visibility. The far north. So someone needs to give me some visibility on the far north. There's another artillery unit up there. I'd like to kill him. I think there's another artillery unit up there. Yeah, I'm looking at his infantry. 600, 300. I think that's 800, 400. Yeah, I think that's his... that might be his last artillery. And we don't get him because we run out of time. Okay, I only have 3 infantry to the rear of the fort right now. I think I need more than that. So yeah, he routed one of my infantry units with that 300-man infantry unit of his. Okay. I was moving my JF Browns to the south. I'm going to send him back to kill that 300-man infantry unit. One of his units just routed. My artillery 24-pound howitzers just made him rout. Um, so I just closed down on the position that routed. He's advancing with a 1,200-man infantry unit. If I can make that guy rout, so I rush up my 24-pound howitzers. He's charging. That's good. Now that guy's routing. Now there's just one artillery and one infantry. And I'm still planning that I'm going to have to charge. His artillery's already routed. The Whitworths are doing a good job. The infantry, the 24-pound howitzers are doing a good job. So now two of his that infantry unit that was 1,200 is routing. The artillery unit, he's dead. He's routing. Getting ready to charge. Send my melee unit in to charge, and he routs before my cav even gets there. So yeah, I had this beautiful idea for a charge with my melee units. Now he's counterattacking. He gets reinforcements from the north. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody who's in the north just fall down to the fort, and all we have to do is hold the fort. And I'm about to get reinforcements. Yep, here they come. And I'm going to have them come in, and I'd like to wipe out all these guys in the south and basically just set up a defensive line based on this fort, you know, anchored on this fort, and just inflict casualties on him. Hopefully he attacks the fort itself. He never does, but it'd be nice if he would. Here's another melee cav unit. He has no stars, that melee cav unit. He only has 42s. Yeah, everybody's falling back nicely to the fort. I would very much like if he would attack the fort itself. But we're going to set up a defensive line and give him every opportunity to charge into canister fire. So you would think that that 750-man melee cav unit would kill that 200-man skirmisher unit. No. No, his skirmishers are OP, and I had a pretty good idea that that cav unit was going to get his butt kicked. Yeah, normally on Major General you'd say, yeah, that's going to be that should be easy. Yeah, I think that melee unit, my melee cav unit did actually win. I didn't think he would when I sent him forward, but I think he actually won that. So here we have two infantry. And the problem is if you get into melee with these guys, they'll get a 2-on-1 buff because they're right next to each other. So yeah, you have to be very careful. Even though they're routing, they're still very good. Would like to shatter one of them before I have people charge in there. So yeah, falling back, moving my artillery in support. Hopefully we can... I'm trying to draw this guy into an attack with detached skirmishers. Yeah, maybe I can pop this one guy without getting the other one involved. Because if you get both of them involved, this is not going to be good. So I have rifle fire on both. They're both routing. Yeah, the melee unit has pulled one of them away, I think. Yeah, 600 melee cav against 500 infantry. But my unit's going to get exhausted. And I can't keep these other units, can't keep up with this 400-man unit, so I'm mounting up the Maynards. Yep, and they're my melee cav. No surprise, has had enough. So one of the enemy units is down to about 300. Over on the other flank, the detached skirmishers are doing a fine job. The artillery is doing a fine job. We're just inflicting losses on the enemy. Hopefully just weakening him. But the big thing is, took the flag, so we didn't lose the battle of Richmond. And now the enemy has 29,000, and we go to camp, and we have plenty of money. So I'll see you in camp.